A girl sends a message saying she's going to break up and the protagonist starts crying. He's in disbelief, wondering if it was a joke. He thinks she's not serious because he had plans for their future relationship and was even thinking about marriage. However, he gets blocked and agonizes in his chair. A friend was going to call him to play but ends up seeing the protagonist passed out. The friend tries to help, but he storms out, slamming the door. His friends are outraged because he cannot maintain a relationship. Chen Wan is a famous dog licker. He just follows girls around, spending money on them, and gets nowhere. He is outraged that after 3 years, he got nowhere with Chu Tong. The scene shifts to them talking and a group of people watch them. The protagonist begs for forgiveness and gives her a piglet plush toy, her favorite animal. People around them gossip that he had 4 jobs to support her. Chu Tong explains that everything is fine, but after some time thinking, she realized she wanted to get back with her ex. The protagonist knows her ex and calls him a jerk. He tells her to her face that her ex cheated on her and left her pregnant. Suddenly, a car appears and a guy calls her to get in. Chu Tong's ex does not like them talking and drives her off while she says that this way is better. At the convenience store, the protagonist is devastated. As a bootlicker, he thinks he will never have a relationship. But a system appears showing his information named Chen Yuan, with 230 Chinese coins and personal wealth and 1 strength point. However, it also shows another piece of information saying he has 90 billion Chinese coins to be a dog licker. He wonders what is happening. A girl approaches him, asking if something is wrong with him because he keeps staring at her chest. The protagonist looks at her and starts analyzing her stats. The system shows her name is Hu Lil. She is 21 years old, 165 centimeters tall, weighs 49 kilograms, and is almost an 8 in appearance. Her favorability towards the protagonist is -50. The system informs him that if a chosen woman reaches 95 favorability points, she can become his bootlicker. The protagonist is confused, wondering if he has to use the 90 billion given by the system on women. The system informs him that the 90 billion coins can be spent and that they have been credited to his card. Chu Lil is unsure if he is trying to flirt with her and if he can succeed. She then accepts and tells him to buy snacks for everyone in the class. Chu Lil looks down on him, thinking he dresses like a beggar and yet wants to flirt with her, so she will have to teach him a lesson. But the protagonist spends 50,000 without worry. A group of people who were speaking ill of him realize he is rich but does not dress like it. The protagonist tells her to relax, saying that amount is nothing to him. Not being a fool, he asks her to add him. Chu Lil is confused, wondering if he is a second-generation rich kid, implying he inherited everything and is a multimillionaire. She says she can add him, but he must go to a special place first. Let's see how I will deal with you, Chu Lil thinks. In front of a Gucci store. She says she is not a materialistic person, she just wants to be sure of his sincerity and actions. He says there is no bad time, they arrived at the perfect moment. He knows people also have birthdays based on the solar calendar. Don't you know that I don't like materialistic girls? You're not with me for money, right? Junkai responds. Chu Tong is speechless. After this conversation, Lil takes Chu Tong's bag, saying she will buy it since it seems Chu Tong doesn't have money. Using the protagonist's money, he gains 20 favorability points with Chu Lil. Swiping the card, he gains another 20, and as she smells the bag, he gains another 20. He gets excited thinking about how money improves things and that the bag made him gain 60 points. At this rate, he will quickly reach the top of her favorability. The problem is that if he reaches 95 favorability with her, without spending much, only buying those cheap bags, he won't get much money back. The store attendants seem confused, saying that some guys appear rich but don't like to spend on their girlfriends, while the poorly dressed protagonist is giving Su Lil the best. Chu Tong is left humiliated on the floor while Su Lil stands there, saying that a bag is like a boyfriend. It's good to hold on tightly. She looks at the protagonist thinking she can't lose him and gives him some compliments. Chu Tong, with tears in her eyes, bumps into him saying he has gone too far. Too far? Haha, Chu Tong, you still have a lot to suffer, the protagonist says. But with her aggressive move, the protagonist activated the system's second relationship. It begins to show her information. Name is Chu Tong, 21 years old, 163 centimeters tall, weighing 49 kilograms. She has a slightly higher rating than Chu Lil and has -10 favorability, with the same goal of 95 favorability. Are you relieved? Did I do a good job, didn't I? Where are we going now? Chu Lil says. The protagonist says the night is just starting and he has plenty of money, asking if she is satisfied with just one bag. And she starts grabbing everything she can, ending up full of bags. The protagonist gives the card. The store attendants say they will deliver to the address after the purchase is finalized. Chen Yuan keeps gaining favorability with Su Lil, another 5 points. Swipes the card, another 5. Swipes the card, another 5. Chu Lil gets tired of buying clothes and doesn't even know where she will put all of it. Not enough space. Doesn't matter. I'll buy you a house, says the protagonist. But this made him lose some favorability. Chu Lil says they should take it easy since they have spent a lot. The protagonist understands he scared her, and that it's not normal for someone to buy a house for another person so quickly, even for a multimillionaire. Su Leal, a junior at the Fine Arts College, 21 years old, 49 kilograms, and her favorite color is black. The protagonist says, implying he knows her well. He asks the store attendant if they have a card he can give to Su Leal. She says they do. Then the protagonist asks to put 500,000 credits on the card for Su Leal to spend whenever she wants. Chen Yuan gives the card as an apology for the misunderstanding. She blushes and feels happy. He whispers in her ear that if she can't resist, she should just give in to him. "Oh, you bad boy, you're a bad boy, my god," Su Leal says, and he gains another 30 favorability points. The store attendants go crazy over how attentive and caring he is with her. The protagonist says that having money makes it much easier to flirt with people. Su Leal asks him if, even though he buys a lot for her, he doesn't buy clothes for himself. The protagonist says he doesn't have much money. Su Leal, wanting to impress the protagonist, takes him to buy some clothes. She starts spending the 50,000 her father sent, paying for a haircut, some clothes, and sneakers. Su Leal is impressed seeing the protagonist with a new haircut and sneakers, and he gains another 5 favorability points. Another 5, another 5. The protagonist asks if he did something wrong since he never spent money on himself before. She puts her hand on Chen Yuan's chin and says there's nothing wrong with him. She just thinks now they make a good couple. She thanks him, saying it was a very special day. Now Su Leal has 68 favorability points. Back at the dormitory, his friends ask what he did all day and why he is all dressed up. Chen Yuan says he was on a date with Su Leal. His friends give some advice, reminding him that not long ago he was suffering over his ex, and now he is with Su Leal. They suggest he stay away from her or he will end up very poor. The protagonist thanks them for the advice. Then he receives a notification from Chutong saying that if he hates her, it's best they delete each other's numbers. Chen Yuan looks at the phone, thinking about how he will increase favorability with her since she wants him to delete her number, but he wants to earn money with her. Of course not, how could that be possible? "You will always have a special place in my heart," the protagonist says, sending the message. She responds saying she is not with that guy because she wants to be, but because her mother is sick and needs 50,000 for medical procedures. Chutong is impressed, realizing she was only playing with him, and receives a notification of 50,000 that the protagonist sent, and if he might be a second-generation rich kid. The protagonist silences her after she sends 15 messages in a row and wonders if there's a more fun way to spend money on women. He finds a girl doing a live stream, but there are only a few minutes left until she closes. She gets frustrated and asks if anyone's going to send gifts or she should end the live stream. The protagonist sees that he can send up to 1 million and thinks it's much better than buying bags. He starts a frenzy of sending multiple gifts. The girl thanks him for sending a rocket, but then 100 rockets appear on the girl's screen. The people in the live chat get angry, wondering who sent all the gifts. Chen Yuan realizes that someone with a lot of money gets a lot of attention and sends 900 more rockets, causing her phone to crash. At the company where the girl does her live streams, an employee informs the boss that something incredible happened. A guy spent 10 million on Xiaomi's live stream. The staff goes wild, unsure if the protagonist is laundering money through the site or if he is affiliated with the company. All the other girls doing live streams see the protagonist's nickname and are amazed that he spent 10 million on Xiaomi's live stream and try to send him messages in his DM. Chen Yuan just watches the messages come in. The girl who received the gifts wonders if it's all real, but then a guy with a sign comes over saying he needs to approaches her, asking for her contact information when another guy comes up asking what he is doing. Taken aback, claims it's a misunderstanding and that he just wanted to join the student union because she is the vice president and he wanted some advice. The angry guy scolds him, saying that's not a good enough excuse to hit on her, calling him a pervert. But the protagonist, undeterred, asks if she can add him on Snapchat. She looks puzzled, wondering why so much is happening. The protagonist remains confident that she will add him. The president says he is bold and courageous for putting himself out there for everyone to mock. The other guy admits the protagonist is even more handsome than the last one and asks if he wants to join the student union too. The protagonist replies no, he doesn't care about the student union. The guy is confused why he wants UP's snap. Chen Yuan says he just wants to pursue her. Students from another class watch, noting another guy trying to talk to her, but at least the protagonist is bold. Xiao Yuki decides to give him her contact information. Shupang's friend asks what's going on between them. "I like beautiful women. Why should I hide that?" Sometimes the simplest approach is the most effective. "What one doesn't like being pursued," says the protagonist. It shows that he has formed a bootlicker relationship with her, but with zero favorability. He is happy but confused since she gave her contact to someone with zero favorability. Outside the class, his friends say he nailed it by getting Yuki's contact since he used to seem like a bootlicker and now looks confident. One of the protagonist's friends jokes that if he gets close to the president, he will have to introduce them to her friends. The protagonist doubts he will manage to talk to her, saying they are exaggerating since she is the most beautiful girl on campus. The policeman asks Shutong if, even after the protagonist rejected her, he still continues to be a good person. The president, observing her desperation, says she deserves everything happening to her, saying she isn't worthy of his love and he did nothing wrong. The stressed president leaves the room angrily, lights a cigarette to ease his jealousy, wondering if he did something wrong. The president is impressed because only women are defending him. He thinks people are doing this to him because he stands out so much. He is receiving this certificate if it was for protecting someone. Saying he should be in Chen Yuan's place. He notices his girlfriend is making some compliments about the protagonist, and the favorability rises. Another 10, another 10. The meeting ends and everyone is leaving. She asks if he's gone mad or isn't feeling well and why he is so jealous of the protagonist. She says she has genuine admiration for her classmate. Even after helping so many people, Chen Yuan doesn't care about fame or wealth. She brings up him winning the race against Liang and yet not wanting to join the track team, saying this act is a sign of incredible people. He grabs her wrist forcefully. She tells him to shut up and let go, saying he's hurting her. The loser gets close to her. Chen Yuan is useless. Liang starts boasting about having a Tesla and many more things than him. But right next to them, the protagonist calls the bald man to pick him up, saying he doesn't want to be picked up in an expensive car and wants to maintain a humble profile. This is just the illustrated head, who came in one of the new cars. The bald man apologizes, saying he was sure on time, so he came in that car. The protagonist gets angry and tells him to pay more attention as he said not to come in an expensive car. The guy says he understood the message. Both of them look on. And with that, the protagonist leaves. Liang's girlfriend says she's tired of the situation and wants to break up. He says that's impossible, but he ends up desolate on the ground. Chen Yuan transfers some money to the bald man. The guy thanks him. The protagonist says that while everything is being resolved, he will return to school. The bald man offers a ride, but Chen Yuan says it's unnecessary as the car draws too much attention. The guy says okay and just asks the protagonist to be careful. Walking through the city, the protagonist says that the priority is President Zhao, needing just a little more to complete the system and get the 25 attribute points. He says he has to buy something for her and wonders if the chubby guy has anything to sell again. Looking at the group chat, everyone comments that even with a bit of conversation, the protagonist bought the house. One guy says Chen Yuan has a lot of money available. The protagonist tells them to relax, saying he bought it just to help a friend. The guys are shocked when the protagonist shows up. Everyone in the group adores him. A guy with the car photo asks if he doesn't want to buy a luxury car, saying he knows some people who sell them. Then a guy calls him, saying that the Zhang family has a small business with imported cars, and it's a pleasure to meet the protagonist. The protagonist looks at the card and sees it says Zhang Group. Chen Yuan imagines that his family has a giant industry and that he must be a second-generation rich kid. He tells Zhang that managing such a big car business at his age is impressive. The guy says he thought the protagonist was older, considering he bought that house. They chat, and from a distance, two girls wonder who Chen Yuan is, thinking he must be the son of some wealthy family, given that manager Zhang received him, but they dismiss him, thinking they have no chance with him. The manager doesn't want to brag, but says he has the store with the largest collection of luxury cars in the city, saying the protagonist can ask for any car he wants. The protagonist thinks of the legendary car and says he wants a Bugatti Chiron. The guy thinks Chen Yuan must be joking as there are very few units. The protagonist says he doesn't have it, and Zhang feels embarrassed. Chen Yuan asks if they have a Lamborghini Veneno. Zhang responds that they do not. The protagonist asks if they have a Pagani Huayra. Zhang replies that they don't have that either. The salesperson is sweating profusely, saying that Chen Yuan is rooming the place. The manager explains that the vehicles they have for sale range from 2 to 8 million, and the cars the protagonist wants are a bit out of that range. Take a look at. He mentions it is one of Ferrari's rarest cars. 100 kilometers / in under 3 seconds, costing only 22 million. Eyes are staring at each other. The white-haired guy says he has a favorite streamer, but is out of money and asks if Chen Yuan can give a little help. The protagonist arrives at the table, asking why they're acting like that. The white-haired guy gets nervous and returns the phone. The protagonist calls him weak because he spent only 20 million while he was in the bathroom. Arriving, she thinks it will just be a date and that with her charm she won't have any problems. The next chapter starts with a huge message. It's from Chuton, saying they can start over, and that she imagined them traveling the world, tasting all the dishes, but when she woke up, she saw she was alone and asks for his forgiveness. The protagonist went there, blocked and deleted her contact because of his date with a little streamer. The girl asks what he was doing, but Chen Yuan says it was nothing important and asks what she was talking about. She remembers the boss scolding her, saying he spends more than all her fans in a day, and even if she has to strip and put him to sleep, she must capture him. The little streamer thinks that even with her beautiful face, he seems indifferent to her and is disheartened that she can't win over. She tries to seduce him with her charm, asking him how he got so rich at such a young age. However, the system sends a message saying her favorability is too high and it's unable to connect. The protagonist realizes he needs to lower her favorability first and wonders what to do. He starts doing disgusting things to lower her favorability to create the connection, like putting his feet on the table. He tells her he's just an unemployed guy who got lucky. She's outraged that he doesn't work but has money to spend. The protagonist says he only uses his father's money and that they are going bankrupt, owing millions to the banks. He says he arranged this meeting to see if he could get back the money he gave her because he spent too much. She is disgusted when he doesn't wash his hands after picking his nose, but at least the protagonist's plan is working, as he loses 20 favorability points. She can't take it anymore and asks why he asked her out if he's poor, saying that asking for gifts back shows he's not an honorable person. Lose 20, lose 20, lose 20. She says she must have been crazy to agree to go out with a loser like him. The little streamer calls someone, saying she met the protagonist and he keeps bothering her, thinking he might be a stalker. The protagonist is dismayed to find such a dishonest woman, calling her shameless for changing her demeanor so quickly. A guy bursts through the door, asking who's bothering his woman. She runs to him, saying she was scared to death of the pervert Chen Yuan. The guy ignores her and approaches. "Brother Yuan, you're here too," said the Shopee protagonist. The guy is impressed to meet Chen Yuan, saying it's an honor to know him. She is confused, not understanding why Mr. Yuan is being so polite to him. The guy is one of the richest second-generation heirs, owning several industries in the area. He slams the table, calling her stupid, saying she's bothering one of the most important men, calling him poor. She wonders why he's doing this, thinking the protagonist was testing her sincerity and realizing she messed up big time. The little streamer knows she needs to win him back and starts apologizing, begging for his forgiveness. With that, the system connects with her. The protagonist takes a look and says it's fine, that she's just a young, inexperienced girl. She says she understands and that he truly is her favorite. Plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10 favorability points. Chen Yuan wonders if this is how people make a living by seducing others, thinking that as long as they can get money, favorability will rise. He says he won't let her go that easily. The guy from the date slams the table, saying he spent a lot of money on her to boost her fame, and she treats one of his best friends like that. The guy invites the protagonist to an honor event. The protagonist says he can go without problems and that he's doing it out of respect for their friendship. Chen Yuan gets into the car. The little streamer says she wants to go too. In the car, she hugs him and asks if he's mad at her, saying she really understands she was wrong. The protagonist takes out his phone and opens the streaming platform. He says it's okay, and she's worrying too much. Chen Yuan opens a live stream of a well-behaved girl, telling the viewers to follow her. The little streamer watches in amazement as he makes donations. The girl in the stream goes wild with the gifts, not understanding anything. She faints from the amount of money she received. The little streamer is impressed with how quickly the protagonist spends his money. She says all that money should be for her and that he must be joking. Plus 30 favorability points. The girl says she wishes his fingers weren't tapping the screen, but her body instead, and he gains another 30 favorability points. He watches, saying she's crazy for enjoying watching him humiliate her by giving money to others. Arriving at the location, the guy welcomes the protagonist, saying it's the most reputable private restaurant in the city, only accessible with a special membership invitation, and it has 3 important features. The protagonist is confused about the 3 important features, guessing impressive food, a unique setting, but can't figure out the last one. The guy is impressed he guessed 2 and says he wouldn't be able to guess the 3rd. Chen Yuan sees the president playing her instrument, and the guy says that's the 3rd point, the chef's daughter, Zhao Yuki. She stands up and they exchange confused glances. She sees the little streamer clinging to the protagonist's arm, and he loses 5 favorability points as she breaks her instrument, sad and tearful. He says that in his family there's a secret rule. When someone turns 18, at the table she asks what his relationship with the president is. But then the president says the protagonist hasn't revealed his real name yet and that it's good for her to call him brother from now on since he's probably younger than her. The guy says the president is dominating the interaction. Just staring at her, the little streamer holds herself back. Chen Yuan tells the 2 of them to stop, and he eyes rush by saying there's a guy confessing to a girl. A guy wanting to love and be loved. The Liang keeps saying she doesn't need to run since her true love is right there. She arrives and asks if his name is Chen Yuan, saying she finally found him and begs him to add her. The guys go crazy, wondering why she's going to another guy. Liang says she disappointed him. The protagonist talks to him about his frustrated expression and asks if the situation was incomprehensible. Liang asks if he doesn't want to close the coffin lid right away. Chen Yuan says he's always been envious of his good looks and athletic talent, and he always won the hearts of girls, but now that he's lost, he's panicking. He says the mind consumed by the desire for victory made him ignore his girlfriend's feelings. He's the one who pushed her away bit by bit, and now he's on the ground playing the victim. The guy admits he's right and that it's his fault. Several girls are watching, wondering what's going on. They say if he was aggressive, he doesn't deserve dignity, and if he treated her badly, there's nothing to resolve. The girl stares at the protagonist, saying he understands her. With that, her favorability reaches 91. Even though Chen Yuan did nothing. He didn't give money, just looked at the girl a few times, and she already loved him. The president's friend says she needs to find a way to talk to Kiki to warn her that she's not the only one talking to the protagonist. She opens the door desperately, asking if she has any problems and saying that Chen Yuan is cheating on her and that she should stop everything because of it. She leaves a like in the video to help Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers, activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out.